The year is 1809. The world remains in turmoil as wars continue to redraw borders and test the strength of empires. Campaigns intensify, resistance movements persist, and leadership is challenged on multiple fronts. At the same time, new ideas in politics, science, and culture quietly shape the foundations of the modern age. 1809 stands as a year of endurance and transition, where conflict and innovation unfold side by side. In this video, we'll explore the key events of 1809 and their lasting impact on global history. January 5th. The Treaty of the Dardanelles between the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and the Ottoman Empire is concluded. January 10th. Peninsular War. French Marshal Jean Lannes begins the siege of Zaragoza. January 14th. The Apodaca-Canning Treaty is signed in London between Britain and Spain. January 16th. Peninsular War. Battle of Corunna in Galicia, Spain. The British, under General Sir John Moore, who is killed, resist an attempt by the French, under Marshal Soult, to prevent them from embarking. February 3rd. The Illinois Territory is created from the western part of the Indiana Territory. February 11th. Robert Fulton patents the steamboat in the United States. February 17th. Miami University, Ohio, is established, by Act of February 2nd, on the township of land required to be set aside for it, under the conditions of the Miami Purchase in 1794. February 20th. United States versus Peters. The Supreme Court of the United States rules that the power of the federal government is greater than any individual state. The siege of Zaragoza ends as José Palafox surrenders. Over 60,000 have been killed during the 60-day siege. February 25th. Battle of Valls. Spanish forces are defeated in Catalonia by Marshal Laurent de Gouvion Saint-Cyr. February 27th. Action of February 27th, 1809. Captain Bernard Dubourdieu captures HMS Proserpine. March 1st. The Embargo Act of 1807 is repealed in the United States. The Non-Intercourse Act replaces it. March 13th. A military coup ousts Gustav IV Adolf of Sweden. He is confined in Gripsholm Castle. March 28th. Battle of Medellin at Extremadura. Massive casualties are suffered in a rout by French cavalry under Marshal Victor. March 29th. At the Diet of Porvoo, Finland's 4 estates pledge allegiance to Alexander I of Russia, commencing the secession of the future Grand Duchy of Finland from Sweden. The Emperor, in return, promises to retain and uphold former laws and privileges, as well as the dominant Lutheran religion. His pledge is later interpreted by the Finns as a confirmation of constitutional laws, which had, effectively, established Finland as a separate state in real union with Russia. King Gustav IV. Adolf of Sweden abdicates after the coup of 1809 and is later exiled. Peninsular War. First Battle of Porto. 8,000 Portuguese soldiers are killed in a rout after defeat by the French under Marshal Soult. Thousands of fleeing civilians drown when a pontoon bridge collapses. April 9th. Tyroleans rise under the command of Andreas Hofer against French and Bavarian occupation. April 10th. Napoleonic Wars. The War of the Fifth Coalition begins when forces of the Austrian Empire invade Bavaria. April 11th to 15th. Napoleonic Wars. Battle of the Basque Roads. The British Royal Navy defeats the French fleet in the mouth of the Charente, although officers on both sides face subsequent courts-martial. April 18th. The 2,000 Guineas Stakes horse race is first run in England. April 19th. War of the Fifth Coalition. Battle of Rasin. The armies of the Austrian Empire are defeated by the Duchy of Warsaw. Battle of Tugendhausen. The armies of the Austrian Empire are defeated by the French and their Bavarian allies. April 20th. Battle of Abensberg, Bavaria. Napoleon defeats Austria. April 21st. Battle of Landshut. Napoleon defeats Austria in yet another battle. April 22nd. Battle of Eckmühl. French troops under Napoleon I and Marshal Davout defeat the Austrians under Archduke Charles. April 23rd. Battle of Ratisbon. Napoleon I fights his last battle during the Bavarian phase of the War of the Fifth Coalition. May 3. The Battle of Nimla occurs, which allows Mahmud Shah Durrani to seize the Durrani throne from his brother, Shah Shuja Durrani. Battle of Ebelsberg. André Massena defeats Austrian General Johann von Hiller, forcing him to retreat. May 5th. Mary Keyes is the first American woman to be awarded a patent for a technique of weaving straw hats with silk and thread. The Swiss canton of Aargau declares Jews citizens. May 10th. Gustav IV Adolf is officially deposed from the Swedish throne by the Riksdag of the Estates. May 10th to 11th. Peninsular War. Battle of Grijó. The Anglo-Portuguese army, commanded by Sir Arthur Wellesley, defeats the French army, commanded by Marshal Soult in Portugal. May 12th. Peninsular War. Second Battle of Porto. The Anglo-Portuguese army, commanded by Wellesley, drives the French army, commanded by Marshal Soult, out of Porto and forces them to retreat from the country. May 17th. Napoleon I of France orders the annexation of the Papal States to the French Empire. When he announces that the Pope's secular power has ended, the Pope excommunicates him. May 21st, Battle of Aspern-Essling begins. May 22nd, Battle of Aspern-Essling. Austrian troops under Archduke Karl beat the French under Napoleon in a hard-fought battle. May 24th, Dartmoor Prison opens in England to house French prisoners of war. May 31st, Mauritius Campaign of 1809–11. Action of 31st. May 1809 in the Bay of Bengal. The French frigate Caroline, operating from Île-de-France, Mauritius, captures most of a British East India Company fleet. The famous composer Joseph Haydn dies in Vienna at age 77 following Napoleon's second siege of Vienna. June 6th. Sweden promulgates a new instrument of government, which restores political power to the Riksdag of the Estates after authoritarian rule since 1772. On the same day, Duke Charles, uncle of the deposed King Gustav IV Adolf, is elected king under the name Charles XIII. June 7th. Shoja Shah of the Durrani Empire signs a treaty with the British. Only weeks later, he's succeeded by Mahmud Shah. June 14th. A French victory in the Battle of Raab prevents Archduke John of Austria from bringing any significant force to the Battle of Wagram. June 26th. Danish adventurer Jørgen Jørgensen deposes Count Frederick Trampa as governor of Iceland in the Revolution of 1809 and declares himself Protector of Iceland. July 5th. Battle of Wagram begins. July 6th. French troops arrest Pope Pius VII and take him to Liguria. Napoleon defeats the Austrians at the Battle of Wagram. July 8th to 9th. Finnish War. Naval Battle of Porkala. The Swedish archipelago fleet defeats the Russians. July 10th. Battle of Znaim begins. July 11th. French Marshal Auguste de Marmont and André Massena fights inconclusively against the Austrians in the Battle of Znaim. July 16th. The city of La Paz in modern-day Bolivia declares its independence from the Spanish crown and forms the Junta Tuitiva, the first independent government in Spanish America, led by Pedro Domingo Murillo. July 28th. Peninsula War. Battle of Talavera. Sir Arthur Wellesley's British, Portuguese, and Spanish army defeats a French force. July 30. Walcheren Campaign. A British invasion army lands on Walcheren. August. The USS Constitution, Old Ironsides, is recommissioned as the flagship of the North Atlantic Squadron. August 8th, 70 disciples of Vilna Gaon arrive in Palestine. August 10th, Ecuador declares independence from Spain. August 11th, Battle of Almanacid de Toledo. A poorly led Spanish army is defeated by King Joseph Bonaparte's French army. September 17th, Finnish War. The Peace of Hamina is signed between Russia and Sweden. The future Grand Duchy of Finland is ceded to Russia by the Treaty of Frederikshamn. September 18th. A new theatre for the Royal Opera House opens in London to replace the first, burnt down in a fire in 1808. The price increases led to the old price riots, which last for 64 days. September 21st. British Secretary of War Lord Castlereagh and Foreign Secretary George Canning meet in a duel on Putney Heath, with Castlereagh wounding Canning in the thigh. October 8th. Prince Clemens von Metternich becomes Foreign Minister of the Austrian Empire. October 11th. Along the Natchez Trace in Tennessee, explorer Meriwether Lewis dies under mysterious circumstances at an inn called Grinder's Stand. October 14th. The Treaty of Schönbrunn cedes the Illyrian provinces to France and ensures peace between the First French Empire and the Austrian Empire. October 25th. The Golden Jubilee of George III marked the 49th anniversary of the accession of King George III and his entrance into the 50th year of his reign as King of Great Britain. November 18th. Napoleonic Wars. Action of November 18th, 1809. In the Bay of Bengal, a French frigate squadron captures 3 British East Indiamen, mainly carrying recruits for the presidency armies in India. November 19th. Battle of Ocaña. A Spanish army is ridden down, and 4,000 are killed and wounded by French forces. November 21st. First stone laid of first guided bus passenger wagonway Gloucester and Cheltenham Tram Road. November 25th. Benjamin Bathurst, a British diplomat, mysteriously disappears, possibly murdered, in Perleberg, west of Berlin. December. Boyd Massacre, Whangaroa Maori. People kill and eat 66 crew and passengers of the brigantine Boyd in New Zealand. December 25th. American physician Ephraim McDowell performs the first ovariotomy, removing a 22-pound tumor. December 26th. A British invasion force leaves Vlissingen. December 30. Wearing masks at balls is forbidden in Boston, Massachusetts. Date unknown. William Combe begins publication of the verse Tour of Dr. Syntax in Search of the Picturesque in Ackerman's Political Magazine, London. Illustrated with cartoons by Thomas Rowlandson, depicting comic and ridiculous scenes involving a hapless country physician and coming to represent British Regency humor. Louis Poinsot describes the 2 remaining Kepler-Poinsot polyhedra. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck publishes Philosophie zoologique, outlining a wrong concept of evolution by acquisition or loss of inherited characteristics through use or disuse. British recruits to the British East India Company, and subsequently to the Indian Civil Service, are required to learn at least one Indian language fluently. Aurorian Atoll of the Gilbert Islands was sighted by Captain John Patterson on British brig Elizabeth. As 1809 comes to an end, its significance lies not only in battles fought, but in the deeper shifts taking place beneath the surface. Power structures continue to evolve, societies adapt, and the course of the 19th century grows clearer. The events of 1809 remind us that even in times of instability, history moves forward, shaped by resilience, ambition, and change. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for more history content.